Black Lives Matter so much. How come they're not marching in Chicago?
Okay, I don't know.
Answer the fucking question.
I'm a reporter. I'm not here to advocate on Black Lives Matter.
Answer the question.
You're blowing your cover as an independent journalist, and I know you're just an Antifa dude. It's all good. No problem. You're safe here because we're not savages, so you're safe here. I guarantee it.
I know, but you know you're interrupting and everything. I mean, I'm happy to show you my shit.
What are you going to do? Fuck you.
Hey, excuse me, guys. Is there any chance I get an interview with anybody? No? You got a speakerphone? No? Yeah, sure. Yeah? Can I have an interview with you? No? Sir, please? We're out here today in Brooklyn. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here today?
Yeah, so we need to support the NYPD because support the community and don't let the security back up the 30 years. We need to support all New Yorkers survive the NYPD. We need that all the NYC survive the NYPD. We need a blue life matter, blue life matter.
I wanted to ask, a lot of these protesters are saying police are racist, the NYPD is racist. Do you think the NYPD is racist?
No, it's nothing. I feel it's nothing.
Do you think they say they're targeting black people? Do you think the NYPD is targeting black people?
I don't think so.
Okay. I had one last question for you. We're seeing the Black Lives Matters movement coming through, a lot of those protests. What do you make of the Black Lives Matters movement?
We need today I just need the NYPD come back to the city and then don't cut the NYPD pressure and then just let the NYC's the security was going the better. That's it.
Absolutely.
I don't talk about the Blue Lives Matter today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time.
See how you liberals are? You don't want to hear from us. Go where you
Come. Come, record.
He walked away.
Walk away, buddy.
Where do you come from? Oh, independent.
You don't want to hear from us. We don't want to hear.
I'm coming to you guys. Any chance I get an interview?
You do not want to talk to me.
Why not?
Because you're more interested in.
Can I please get an interview?
This is a Blue Lives Matter organization
Bro,
right
my
here.
camera guy.
Okay.
Come over here. Yeah, can you tell me, we're out here today in Brooklyn. You have a sign that says Blue Lives Matter. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here today?
Why am I here today? To support the NYPD, because nobody else cares about them, including our mayor and governor.
I know we've been seeing many of these anti-cop protests coming off the heels of the death of George Floyd and things like that.
Okay,
Do you think
George Floyd was murdered by one man, okay, who happened to have been an officer, okay? The NYPD did not murder George Floyd, and either did that police force. One man killed another man.
Well, now if we're going to talk about the NYPD specifically, I mean, I could bring up the situation of Eric Garner. Do you think that was a just situation with Eric Garner?
I'll tell you why I think that it was, okay? Eric Garner was arrested around 1,000 times for the same nonsense. He was giving guest appearance tickets forever, okay? That community wanted those people out of their community selling those cigarettes. All he had to do was comply, go to the precinct, and get a DAT. He decided to resist. I don't think anyone should die. I don't believe that anyone should, it was unfortunate.
Should the NYPD policing these petty crimes? These are crimes that are being committed, but these petty crimes.
Well, wait, excuse me, a petty crime?
Yeah, Eric Garner was selling Lucy's. That was the crime.
The community board wanted these people that were selling the cigarettes to the drug addicts off their streets. He was told 1,000 tickets, he got DAT tickets, not to be there. He refused to leave. All they wanted to do was arrest him, put him in the car, get a DAT, and he could come right back out. He resisted. Why was he resisting?
I don't know.
I
want to I want to follow up with you and ask. A lot of the Black Lives Matters movement is saying that specifically cops are targeting black people. Do you think any of that's going on? And why do you
targeted? The NYPD does not target black people. I could say this: if a crime is being committed by a black person and they're getting arrested and they refuse to comply, then they're asking whatever happens, happens. You want to take a taser from a cop. Well, deadly physical force against deadly physical force.
Why do you think Black Lives Matters is advancing the narrative that the police are targeting black people?
Because they have...
Guys, Jesus fucking Christ, guys, let me talk to the lady. Holy fucking shit.
Because
Jesus.
it's a narrative that brings more people into the movement. Black Lives Matter is a political movement. They are socialists. They hate this country, and they don't care about black people. But they're using the college kids and the black people to get their agendas across. They are not caring for the black people at all.
Absolutely. Quickly, in conclusion, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
No, I just want to say, Blue Lives Matter! Blue Lives Matter! Blue Lives Matter!
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. All right, you guys want my info? Why'd you guys have to interrupt so rudely, bro? You want my info?
Questions.
Huh? I know, but you know you're interrupting and everything. I mean, I'm happy to show you my shit.
What are you gonna do? Fuck you.
What am I gonna do about what? I'm just saying you're rude. Okay, big tough guy. Can I get an interview? No. Okay, that's it. You came to me, buddy.
I'm over here.
All right, you stepped over. All right. You're so defensive. I don't know what the issue is.
Yes, I am.
All right, great. Good.
I got a question for you. If Black Lives Matter so much, how come they're not marching in Chicago?
Okay, I don't know.
Answer the fucking question.
I'm a reporter. I'm not here to
Answer the
advocate
question.
on Black Lives Matter. You
Actually,
Answer the question.
every year, but
Do you
Do you agree we should defund the police?
No.
All right, so what's the problem?
You tell me. Ask this guy why he's upset. We'll find out what the problem was. All right, there we
You're
go.
gonna twist his words. You're not gonna come to a guy with a suit on. You're gonna go like those dopes. You're not gonna come on. You know what you're gonna do.
Because you're the antagonist.
Okay, I'm an
I say
antagonist,
something
buddy.
smart. You're gonna put me in the back. You're not the
Okay. Do you want to talk to me or not?
I'm speaking to you.
Do you want to get an interview? No? All right, then fuck off. All right.
black people.
You guys, you're fucking communists. Know that.
You're idiots. Shut up. You're just
Look at this Antifa super soldier behind me. With the whole getup. Do you see him? That guy looks more ready than you guys.
We're looking for something happening.
Nah, look, he has the whole getup though.
He's right.
They even got knee pads. They're putting their masks in their faces. Hey, excuse me, sir. Is there any chance I can get a quick interview? So who you with? I'm independent. I post all my content on YouTube. We're out here today in Bay Ridge marching in support of the NYPD. Can you tell me a little bit more about what compelled you to come out here today?
This is Dr. Heights. It's definitely not Bay Ridge. Quite all right. When you have an emergency, you call the NYPD. So to defund the NYPD is to compromise everyone's safety and security. Small business, families, neighborhoods. For the mayor and some of the local politicians to support defunding the NYPD is a disgrace, because then they're the first one to say, oh, I can't believe crime is up. It's your fault. You defunded the people who protect us and make sure that we're safe.
I know many of these defund the police protests are coming on the heels of the killing of George Floyd. So do you think any of the protests are justified at all?
I think the protests that directly affect the officers who killed George Floyd, that is justified. Because what happened there was disgusting, it was illegal, and absolutely, the officers who were wrong should absolutely be dealt with, absolutely be dealt with criminal charges. I am not pro-police brutality. Most police are not, 99% of the police, they're great. But a few bad apples here and there ruin it for all of them. Just because a few of them really mess up and absolutely should be held accountable does not mean you consequence the whole NYPD, which in turn reflects on the neighborhood.
I want to ask, what do you make of the Black Lives Matters movement? We just had a mural painted yesterday outside of Trump Tower on the street there. Al Sharpton was there, Bill de Blasio was there. What do you make of the movement in that mural?
The mural is to express the rights of Black Lives Matter. Black lives do matter. White lives do matter. Spanish, Asian, every lives matter. So in order to be able to paint a Black Lives mural on the street, then you need to paint next to it a White Lives Matter mural, an Asian Lives Matter mural, a Spanish Lives Matter mural, or as everyone here believes, just paint an All Lives Matter mural. I think this is being taken way out of control to the point where it shouldn't get to this.
People say specifically we need to say Black Lives Matters because police target blacks disproportionately. Do you think that the NYPD specifically now are targeting blacks specifically because that's what the movement is kind of basing off of? So do you think there's specific brutality against black people in the U.S.?
I think that because there's more crime and it does affect the black community, I do think that maybe training needs to be changed, maybe certain protocols need to be changed. I have black family members, I have black friends, I love them dearly. I am, as you can see, I'm a white male. I own a business, a lot of my customers are African American, but me, my wife, and many people out here believe the same thing. We don't see color, we see people.
One last question for you. Some people are saying the NYPD is acting with impunity and kind of arresting people for petty crimes that don't deserve it. One notable situation in the city here was the churro ladies in the subways being arrested. So do you think police, the NYPD, needs to be telling churro ladies, in the subway to get out? I know they might be breaking a crime, but it's this petty crime that the NYPD is so aggressive with. What do you make of that?
I think that there should be protocols that are things are certain things are more important than others. I think that if there's major crimes to handle, don't worry about a churro lady. But on the other hand, if the churro lady has had multiple warnings, I'm not saying she has. Personally, I don't know the record.
I know in New York City we had stop and frisk. So Are you a proponent of stop and frisk?
I think stop and frisk is good where necessary. I don't think it's something that should be widespread. I think if statistics show that certain neighborhoods have more crime and the neighborhood council agrees to, hey, maybe stop and frisk for a little while will keep the neighborhood safe.
But then with the stop and frisk, where's the presumption of innocent? It may help stop reduce crime, but don't you think it's unconstitutional to, just assume somebody's committing a crime? Where's the presumption of innocence?
I think everyone should be checked. Not.
That sounds even worse. That sounds like a police state.
No, not really. Not checked as in under arrest, but you cannot single out certain minority groups.
Everybody should be stopped and frisked? Stopped and frisked?
Everyone should be stopped and frisked at reason. If there's a spike in crime in a certain neighborhood, check everyone who comes off the subway. There's nothing wrong with that. The reasoning is you're protecting the neighborhood, you're protecting the business, and you're protecting the city. Absolutely. I don't think it's something that should be permanent. I don't think it's something that should be widespread. I think it should be on an as-needed basis.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you so much for your time. In conclusion, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
We support the NYPD, we support the FDNY, and please remember, if you defund the NYPD, who's going to protect you when you have an emergency?
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're out here today in Brooklyn marching to support the police. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here?
I'm out here to support the NYPD.
Yeah.
And we Asians are always love and respect NYPD and love NYPD because they always support us and protect us. Without the NYPD, there will never be anything safe in the whole New York or New York City.
I wanted to ask you, many of these protesters, these anti-cop protesters, are saying that the police are racist. So what do you make of that?
No.
Do you think the police are racist?
No, they're not racist. If the police arrest you, you should not fight with them. You should let them arrest us. And when you go to the 5th precinct or whatever precinct, you can have a chance to explain instead of fighting back with the police. And then if anything happen, sure there will be something to happen when they are choke and freeze, right? So the police is always in the right.
Absolutely.
So, like I say, I always tell my friend, if you don't have nothing wrong, if you don't do anything wrong, the police on the street will never arrest you. Correct?
Well, I know people are saying there's things like stop and frisk and that the police are specifically targeting black people. So do you see any of that going on? Do you think any of that's going on?
No. I always see in the YouTube or whatever, is there only the receipts. And I have seen with my own eyes. When Governor Cuomo stated that everybody must wear a mask when they go out, especially in the train, I saw the lady who wearing a mask on the underneath the neck, but she never wear it correctly. And when the police asked her to wear it correctly, she just like to shout and fight back with the police. And that's why the police have to arrest her. And during the arrest, she fight with the police.
Yeah.
And people think that the police is always in the wrong, but police is actually doing their job.
Let me also ask you, I know outside of Trump Tower, they painted a mural that says Black Lives Matters. Bill de Blasio was there, Al Sharpton was there. What do you make of the Black Lives Matters mural in the city now in front of Trump Tower?
I also don't like it because they never should, first of all, they should not defund the police and use the money to draw the Black Lives Matters on the street. They already have too many already. Not only Black Lives matter, all lives are matters.
When you hear Black Lives Matters, what do you think?
I think it is very unfair. Only their life is matter. Every human beings, don't say every life, every human beings' life are matters. If they are in danger, the police will be there, always be there to rescue them. So we should not defund the police.
Yeah, of course.
All
Who
right,
do you work
cool.
with?
I'm independent.
Okay, sure.
Awesome. So we're out here today in Brooklyn for a Defend the Police rally. Can you tell me a little bit more about what compelled you to come out here?
It's important because the other side's getting all the press, and the cops are taking abuse everywhere in the country, everywhere you look. Every Democrat-run city you look at, they're pretty much handcuffing the cops and letting the people run amok. So when you get these groups, it's important to focus on the individual. A lot of them are probably just well-intended, ignorant kids, but you do have people openly preaching communism. These scumbags need to be told that they're not going to get their way here, and there's another side to this. So that's the basic reason you come down to support something like this.
Off the heels of the cases of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, do you think any of the protests are kind of warranted based off of some situations?
This is the way it works. When all the cops are arrested, you need to sit back and let the fucking system play out. Sorry for the language.
Sure.
Never in the history of the world have you tell me if you've ever seen a case where all the cops go to jail, but then there's still rioting. There's more to this than Floyd. They are all attached to the Democratic Party, and they're turning it into an anti-Trump talking point because all the bullshit over 3 years failed. There was no collusion with Russia. He did nothing wrong with Ukraine. Nobody gives a fuck about Stormy Daniels.
You think all these race riots are based off of Trump, incited by Trump? It's about
No.
Trump,
They're not incited by Trump. They're incited by the liberal left, the Democrats and their fucking activist buddies in the media that enable it, promote it, talk good about it, and then when you go watch CNN and you listen to the people on that station talking, they take what you're seeing on TV and they start turning it into a Trump thing. Trump hasn't done anything. He didn't kill Floyd. He didn't defend the fucking cops that did it. This was the first incident probably in the history of the country where all 330 million people were united in wanting these cops arrested. They got their way. What the fuck are you protesting for? It takes a year. They go to trial. If you don't like the outcome of the verdict, then by all means hit the streets again.
In the case of Breonna Taylor, the cops got off. They were executing a no-knock warrant. Somebody.
Is that the 7-year-old girl? No, that's not that one.
Breonna Taylor. It's just
because they were doing a warrant on that one too.
A no-knock warrant, and then the person inside had a gun. He didn't know it was officers outside. He shot. The cop shot back and killed the woman.
All right, that sounds familiar.
Sure.
But
what
why
do you
we
make of no-knock warrants?
That's a whole different conversation.
Unconstitutional?
I would let the lawmakers debate that. But they're not in the streets because of no-knock warrants. Don't kid yourself. That's a change of deflection. That's a deflection.
That's what they say. I wanted to ask you, a common theme in some of these protests is talking about white privilege.
That's
so I
the
wanted to
biggest
ask you
joke in the world.
as a white person.
There's no such thing as white privilege. It's a liberal talking point, and only the brain-dead sheep take up that. Listen to me. Look at every war this country's ever fought. Whether you agree or not with the fucking war, who died? 9 to 10, 9 to 1 ratio. White people. We suffer.
Black people are a minority in the country anyway. They only make up like 50%.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah. All right, but still, what's your definition of white privilege?
I'm just saying. They say,
okay, all right.
I'll explain it to you.
Let me tell you something.
They say that police are targeting black people at disproportionate rates. They're saying even
That's bullshit. Are you familiar with any cases where white people are killed unarmed by police?
I'm sure it happens all the time.
I know it happens all the time. Sure. Not just white people, senior citizens, deaf people, people with dementia, a 6-year-old boy sitting next to his father. Even his father wasn't armed.
Do you think the police treat black people any differently than any other race?
Not at all. Not at all. What makes you think they might? Why would you even ask that?
Well, that's the narrative being put forth by the Black Lives Matter movement, so that's why I'm asking.
It's easy to throw out a bullshit narrative, and then you see how it catches like wildfire through ignorance?
Well,
what?
I'm here to ask you about it.
Why do more cops wind up in black neighborhoods than they do in white neighborhoods?
You tell me.
911. We go to where we call. Where people call is where we go.
Sure.
You understand?
But a lot of people are saying a lot of police officers are acting with impunity. I know recently.
They're not.
I know recently we had stop and frisk. What do you think about stop and frisk?
I know it made crime go down a lot, so I think it's a good thing. That should stick around.
Doesn't that infringe on somebody's presumption of innocence?
Well, depends, you know.
We have a right against unreasonable search and seizure. Doesn't stop and frisk infringe on that right?
That's debatable, but you asked what I thought about it, and I just told you a simple fact that crime goes down a lot. Now, what happens during stop and frisk? You might be inconvenienced for 3 seconds, but if you listen and you're not doing nothing wrong, where are you going? You're going home.
Well, the cost of doing stop and frisk and reducing crimes is infringing on our rights. So people would ask, is it worth infringing on our rights to reduce crime? So is that the question?
I was going to ask you if it's worth it, because when you take away these things, what happens? Crime goes up. Who's affected the most? Black people.
So I'm asking you, is it worth it to infringe on our rights to put in stop and frisk to potentially reduce crime?
That's a mouthful, because you're implying that rights are being infringed upon.
Stop and frisk infringes on unreasonable search and seizure.
You'd have to back that complaint up to the lawmakers.
Okay.
All right, and your city council people.
One of our amendments.
That's how they got there.
Sure.
Joe Blow, cop on the street, he didn't put that law in black and white.
Absolutely.
He's enforcing it.
Well, now if there are unconstitutional laws, though, should cops enforce that?
Well, again,
so for example, let me give you an example. Cops are told now that they should enforce social distancing rules. If that's unconstitutional and that's a bad law, should cops still defend it?
You're blowing your cover as an independent journalist, and I know you're just an Antifa dude. It's all good. No problem. You're safe here, because we're not savages, so you're safe here. I guarantee it. But you're starting to ramble all kinds of bullshit. If you're worried about laws being broken and constitutional rights, why are you voting Biden in 4 months? Because I know you are.
Okay.
Look all across the country. Every blue city is allowing their people to commit felonies, misdemeanors, murder, defacing property. Never mind inconveniencing law-abiding citizens who are just trying to go to and fro. They're running amok. It's complete anarchy. And you're asking me about 250s?
Infringing on rights is important to
it is, but that's not why these Howard Zinn brainwashed fucking assholes are in the fucking streets. All right?
Ask you one last question?
Let me tell you something. Why did these people are yelling about Columbus and statues that pigeons have been shitting on for 90 years? What the fuck has that got to do with stop and frisk?
Nothing.
They are. If you go into those crowds, and you're not honestly one of them, you will find people openly telling you capitalism is the problem.
Yep.
That's why they're there. Capitalism has nothing to do with your concerns are legit, the few of them that you mentioned. But you're full of shit in a sense, because you're changing the subject, all right?
Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode. Let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments. If this is your first time here, guys, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, stay barely informed.